Welcome to the show. I am your host, Aimmee Kodachian, not Kardashian. This show is about education and humanity and bringing light, let you see light through darkness. So we help you see your life in different perspective. We bring educational stories, and we share with you everything about business development, self-development, inspirational stories, and everything in between. This show, I have an amazing guest with me, and I'm so blessed to introduce you to him. His name is George Chanos, and he is the former Attorney General for Nevada. Now he's an author and a keynote speaker. And it is a blessing to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so
much. It's very
much.
nice to have you. And I can't wait to share this story of yours. The amazing story, because it's it was so touched my heart when I learned how you start writing your book and where it came from. So would you give us a little bit background about that?
Sure. So I had practiced law for 30 years and ultimately served as Nevada's Attorney General. And after finishing my term, I was, several years later, I ended up having a heart attack. And it was unexpected. No indication of any kind of prior heart history, nothing in my family or in my personal medical history that would suggest that I might be susceptible to that or at high risk for that. Turned out that I had high blood pressure, undiagnosed high blood pressure, which is easily treatable with medication, but you need to know about it. And if you don't know about it, it can be what they call a silent killer, and it can cause you to have a heart attack, and I'm sure other complications as well. So in any case, in November of 2012, I suffered a major heart attack as a result of high blood pressure, and because I didn't expect it, after recovering from the hospital, I was in intensive care for about a week, and after recovering from the hospital, I realized that I ought to put my affairs in order because I had a 16-year-old daughter and I had a 21-year-old nephew, and I was concerned that if I were to have another heart attack or something else might cause me to not be here, that I had these two young people that I cared very much about and that I wanted to leave them well prepared for their future. And so the first thing I did was I put my estate and my affairs in order and set up my trust and provided financially for my family. That was the easy part. And then the second part was I started to write a letter because I thought, you know, one of my greatest assets is that I've lived for what's going to be 60 years this August, and I've learned quite a bit along the line. I've had some amazing experiences.
A lot of wisdom comes with age, right?
You would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope. So I wanted to try to download that information somehow and leave it to my children and to my family. And so I began to write a letter. And in writing that letter, because I like to write, I looked up, I kept writing, and a few weeks went by, and all of a sudden I was at 100 pages. And I realized this isn't a letter. This is becoming a book. And then I thought, well, why shouldn't it be a book? Let's make it into a book, and I'll leave the book to my family, and then they can also, whatever I have to share in the way of information can also be made available to other children, other people that might need that advice and guidance.
So it's kind of like you found a purpose.
Yes.
You didn't start with that purpose. You started just because you want to protect your own family.
Yes.
But now it turned out to be like your purpose to share all of the wisdom that you have.
Yeah, so essentially it evolved, and very much in line with what you're saying. So the first part was to write the letter that evolved into the book, and then once I wrote the book, I realized that I really enjoyed the process, that I enjoyed the writing and the research, and that I enjoyed conveying that information. And as I was doing that, I realized that there was a lot more to write about and a lot more to speak about that I couldn't cover in all one book. And so I started to write a second book, and that book will be finished later this year. It's called Millennial Samurai. So the first book is this book, Seize Your Destiny. That's the book that I wrote to my daughter and my nephew. And that's 22 chapters, roughly 5 to 10 pages each. And it covers everything from character, courage, commitment, compassion, all the core values, the ancient core values. It talks about, developing your life's purpose, understanding what it is that you want to do with your life, how to achieve your goals, how to put a plan together, how to move forward on your plan. So those are the basics, the foundational basics of guidance that I wanted to leave my family. And that all came out in Seize Your Destiny. And then as I started writing the second book, I thought, well, wow, there's so many things happening in the world in terms of artificial intelligence.
Now, before we go to the second book, I want to get deeper into your story when you were writing all this information. How did you feel and all that? But when we come back, would you share more with us?
Sure, absolutely.
And we will be right back.
Snap-on dentures will change your life. And at Smiles Today Dental, we now offer the lowest price in town. Mini dental implants can stabilize your loose dentures permanently. Call Smiles Today Dental for a free consultation.
Thank you for calling Denim Revival.
Hate to say goodbye to your favorite jeans? Well, now you don't have to, because Denim Revival is here for you. Mail us your jeans and our professionals will fix it right up. We offer you all kinds of alteration services, including invisible repairs, let-outs, taperings, and original hemming, or even have your own custom-made jeans. Quoted the best denim repair shop by GQ, Vogue Magazine, and LA Times. Denim Revival, your search for alteration and repair ends here.
And to you it ain't pretty little thing, how do your baby?
And we are back with the question. When you were writing, before you turned it into a book, did you connect with your daughter? Did you tell her, I'm doing this? Or you wanted to do it quietly?
Yes. No, I didn't discuss it with her. I just wanted it to be a surprise. I wanted it to be a gift. And so what I first did, I wanted it to have real value to her. I wanted it to be something, so imagine if you knew that you weren't going to be here and you wanted to provide advice while you were gone.
What would you say?
What would you say? So you would have to anticipate what her questions might be.
So you had to really dig deep and kind of like hear her voice. She will have a question. Do you have a great relationship with your daughter?
Yes, I have an excellent relationship.
Usually, daughters, they connect with the father a lot. So that's a good way to communicate, leaving a letter like this. But that is so inspiring to know how much you loved your daughter to do that. But I truly believe there is reason for everything. So the heart attack that happened to you, unfortunately, it did happen, but look where it led you.
Yes, it was actually a blessing in disguise. And one of the things that I talk about today is that concept that you've just raised, which is look at the heart attack and what it did for you. And so, there's research on resiliency, and they talk about why are certain people more resilient. And they identified 3 core characteristics of why people are more resilient. And the second one has to do with what you just mentioned. The first one is they have a well-grounded grasp of reality. They see the world as it is, not as they want it to be, or as they fear it might be.
Or imagine it,
Or imagine it to be, but as it is. They have a realistic appraisal of their environment. The second trait, which you talked about, taking the heart attack and finding opportunity, is that resilient people find opportunity in adversity. They find meaning in adversity, and they make the most of it. And the third trait is that they have an ability to improvise with what's available. So they make the best of what they have at their disposal. They find solutions and possibilities.
They make lemonade.
They make lemonade out of lemons, exactly. So the point that you raised, which is finding opportunity out of adversity, is a huge point, because we all have so many things that impact our lives, right? We have many good things that enter our lives, and we also have certain bad things or negative things that enter our lives. Now, if we took all of these negative forces and we just thought that they were all arrows that were slung against us, right? And they were all misfortune, right? Then we'd only have half of what's happening to us to work with, the good stuff, right? But if instead we try to find opportunity or meaning or something of value that can enrich our life in the adversity that we face, we now double our potential to go on and lead a happy, successful, and meaningful life. So in my case, my heart attack was something that sent my life in a whole new direction. I'm now writing and speaking and trying to empower and inspire young people. And it's all because of that heart attack. If I hadn't had that heart attack, I wouldn't be doing this.
Absolutely.
So it changed my perspective. It gave me a wake-up call. It made me recognize my own mortality and made me think, you know, you may have limited time on this earth. How do you want to spend the rest of the limited time that you may have? Do you want to just go make more money? What do you want to do with your life?
So now that's what you're teaching others. You're telling them, what do you want to do with your time?
Absolutely.
You know, we all have limited time.
Yes.
Not only you or me.
Yes.
We all have limited time. What
Yes.
are we doing with our time?
Yes.
That's somebody told me the other day, I don't stop. I have a lot of things I'm
Yeah.
doing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not here forever.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything I can before I leave this earth. That's something you're passionate about. And that's
Absolutely.
what one of the things you want to teach.
Absolutely. So I'm trying to give people the tools that they need to lead a happy, successful, and meaningful life. And so what are those tools?
Now, when we come back,
Okay.
when we come back, we're going to give them some of those tools.
Okay.
Because your teaching is amazing. You have an ability. Well, you're a lawyer. I mean, you
Yeah.
didn't get lawyer easy because you're just lawyer. You have that ability to share. And that's why I think you're being a lawyer and getting the gift that you have right now, the combination, it's very powerful. And
thank
that's
you.
why I'm very grateful to have you, because I want everyone to walk away with something in their life when they watch this show.
Yes.
So it's very
Yes.
important. So,
I'm grateful to be here.
yes, so thank you. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm attorney Eric Palacios. If you or a loved one has questions regarding immigration, call my office at 444-7777. It's important to hire the right lawyer to take care of your immigration needs. Call 444-7777.
My buyer showed me the sofa. I couldn't believe it was only $499. First off, I love the sophisticated and modern look. It's covered in a soft textured chenille fabric, so it's durable. Look at the sleek wood trim. But what about the inside, I asked? Well, inside it has superior S-spring seating that translates into support and comfort. And the accent pillows are included. Larry's price, $499. Now that's some bang for your buck. And with same-day delivery, it can be in your home today.
And we are back learning a lot from you, Mr. George. It's a blessing to have you. The way you're teaching, it's amazing, and the way you put those words together, it just hit home. It just hit home, makes sense. So give us some of those tools, how someone could recognize taking obstacles and turn it into opportunities.
Okay. All right. So first of all, the first thing that people need to understand in order to lead a happy, successful, and meaningful life is that it all begins with our thoughts, with our mindset, right? So we all have these brains, right? And these brains are impacted by 80 million bits of information per second, okay? So every second, 80 million bits of information are coming in,
Yeah.
right? Now, our conscious brain cannot process all of that information. So the vast majority of that information enters our brain through our subconscious brain outside of our conscious awareness. We couldn't possibly be consciously aware of 80 million things that are coming in every second, but it's coming in, and it's going into that brain of yours.
And we keep what's important sometimes and what's not.
Yes,
so
and we're able to retrieve certain things, and we have memory, and we have certain mechanisms with the way the brain functions. But the important point is we're all getting this massive amount of information into our brains. And we all have different life experiences, right? I didn't grow up like you grew up. You had a different life experience than I did, right? And you didn't grow up where I grew up, so you don't have my life experience. So your brain, throughout your life, has been impacted by billions and billions of bits of information, much of which is very different than the information that has impacted my brain, right? So we develop thoughts and we develop beliefs based on this information. Our brains control everything that we do.
Based on your experiences.
Yes, yes. So our brains are the engine that we operate under. And those brains are essentially reliant upon our five senses, right? So our ability to touch, to taste, to see, to hear, to smell. These sensory things that we have allow our brain to receive information, right? So you've been receiving a very different set of information throughout your life. Some of it crosses over. Some of it is the same things that I've seen. If we're both watching CNN, we're both seeing the same information that's entering our brain. But if you were watching Fox and I was not, then you would have information that's entering your brain that is not entering my brain, right? So based on that, it's important for us to all understand that we see the world through different glasses, through different prisms, right? So mine might be, red colored or pink colored, and yours might be blue shaded or yellow shaded. And as a consequence, there's a different tint, a different hue, a different perception that you will have of the world or of an event, and you will see it a little differently than I will. Now, when you look at scientists like Stephen Hawking and Einstein, and they've talked about reality and they've talked about perception, there's a disagreement among scientists as to whether or not there really is even an objective reality, right? There may be no truly objective reality. Reality to you might be what you see, and reality to me might be what I see, and there really is no independently objective reality. So when we argue about things, when governments argue, when politicians argue, when people argue over Facebook, we're trying to convince each other that our perception is reality, right? And it's not reality. Mine is not reality, yours is not reality. It's mine. It's my perception and it's your perception. And neither one is always right. There may be parts of mine that are right and parts of yours that are right. There may be certain things that Democrats are saying that are right, and there may be certain things that Republicans are saying that are right.
I'm right there with you on that. Yes, absolutely.
So we need to learn to cherry pick. We need to learn, first of all, we need to learn first and foremost that none of us have all the answers. All right? Aristotle once said
but that's what we're supposed to work together. And now, unfortunately, we're getting
drifting further apart
instead of working together. So we're putting our interest first. Now we're going to politics.
But
we're going, we're putting our interest first instead of
our collective interest.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Aristotle once said that the man who thinks he knows everything knows nothing at all. And there's a good lesson in that. And then from the Talmud tells us we see the world not as it is, but as we are, which ties into that perceptual issue. So the first thing that people need to know is that just because their brain is telling them that things are a certain way does not mean that they are actually that way. So don't become so invested and so emotional about your viewpoint, because your viewpoint. Some
families are fighting about something.
Within the family.
I mean, is it about you or about what we need to do in the world?
Really? Exactly. And so the other thing that we need to know, the important thing for your audience to know, is that we are all profoundly interdependent. We are not lone agents. We live in a world with other people. In the United States, we have 320 million people who live here, right? They all have views. They all have opinions. They all have rights. They all have beliefs. They're all different. They all come from completely different walks of life.
There is nowhere in the world like United States. Nowhere. When we say this country is the best country in the world or a special kind of country, it is because There is nowhere in the world we have that many different,
Right.
different group of people.
Right.
They come together, a different thinking and different
Right.
belief systems.
Right. So we have to learn that there is value in the knowledge and the thoughts and the opinions of others.
And respect that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Respect that, listen to it, and try to learn from it. You don't have to accept everything that someone else is saying, but understand that you may have certain blind spots, right?
Absolutely.
Because you didn't grow up a certain way, you weren't exposed, for example, let's say racism, right? If you were never exposed to racism, if you never had it as part of your life, how could you possibly relate on the level that someone who has experienced it firsthand, time and time again, throughout generations within their family?
Just to tell you, you were right, which you are right about this. I never understood the racism situation because I'm not African American or anything, but 9/11, because it was Middle Eastern,
Yes.
I'm Armenian Lebanese,
Yes.
I'm a Christian Lebanese,
Yes.
but it's still just because I'm Lebanese,
Yes.
I start to feel the rejection of
Yes.
being from the Middle East.
Yes.
And then I start to understand. I never understood it before.
Exactly.
We can't understand it unless it comes to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I believe that racism at its core is essentially ignorance
Yes.
and insecurity. So these people that are racist are ignorant about other cultures to begin with, and they're also insecure about themselves, and so they feel the need to push
it
someone
down.
else down to try to elevate themselves, to try to make
Absolutely.
themselves feel better about themselves. I'm better than this guy.
Yeah.
Right? And so in any case, all of these things, whether it's understanding racism, whether it's understanding the need for compassion, whether it's overcoming fear and developing courage, all of these things begin with our thoughts, right? So we have to learn how to control and manage our thoughts.
Now, I'm wondering, did you do psychologist as well, or did you?
Okay, so I
Did you
was
study?
I was a psychology undergraduate. My undergraduate degree was in psychology, but most of what I'm telling you today is from
It's-
my research.
Sure.
So as I began to write the letter and then the book, I realized that there were many things about my children's future that I didn't know.
Which we were going to talk about when we come back.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Yes.
We need another hour. You're coming back for sure. Okay, we will be right back. Hi, my name is Aimmee Kodachian, not Kardashian. When I came to United States, I did not speak English at all. I had no education, no skills, barely any money in my hands, and I had a 10-year-old daughter to raise. However, giving up was not an option for me. In order to survive and thrive, I had to shift my thoughts and apply all of the insights, wisdom, and the lessons I learned throughout my journey to get and have everything I want. Today, I am an author, TV talk show host, a keynote speaker, a special liaison officer for the Women's Federation for World Peace USA. This is how I am paying it forward today. I have created 4 online classes where I share steps, techniques, and powerful insights that I have used in my life that will give you clear direction on how to transform your thoughts from wanting to having everything you want. And the first class is my gift to you. There is absolutely no obligation to you. So what are you waiting for? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Start shifting your thoughts today so you can transform your life like I did. I encourage you to take action now. Click on the link and see what's in store for you. Are back. I am sure you are enjoying the conversation like I am right now. Really, literally, you reminded reminded me of my dad when I used to have those kind of conversations. Very deep, and he used to know how to explain them in a way that is clear, and it's just absorbed. I want more of this. I wish we have more time. But we were talking about the book and then sharing your wisdom
Yes.
in the book with your daughter.
Yes.
And then we went to a little bit different mindset, which
Yes.
is that's exactly what you're trying to teach her.
Yes.
The mindset.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. So my belief is that life begins with our thoughts. And our thoughts develop into patterns of thought, and these become patterns of behavior. So our thoughts determine our actions, and our actions determine our destiny. So it all goes back to our thoughts, right? So we have to manage our thoughts. We have to think about the way we're thinking, right? And what you really want to have, the first thing that you want to have is an open mind and a positive mind, all right? So Oprah Winfrey was interviewed at Stanford University in 2012. And they asked her, what did you learn about the failures of your philanthropic efforts in Africa? So Oprah had contributed a lot of money to girls' schools and a library in Africa, and things didn't work out as well as she had hoped, and the people at Stanford were asking her, what did you learn? And she said, I learned that you first have to change the way a person thinks. For someone to succeed, they have to have a sense of aspiration and a sense of hopefulness. So the first thing that we learn that Oprah is teaching us from her own experience, the thing that she felt that was foundational is that we have to have belief. We have to have a belief system. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in our children. We have to believe in our future. We have to believe in all children.
Belief is what
Belief-
it is.
belief-
yeah.
belief-
The start. It's the foundation.
Yes. Losing your belief is like jumping out of a life raft,
Absolutely.
because it's that belief system that sustains you. It's that belief system.
And it gives you the hope, not
Yes.
hope that sitting and
Yes.
expecting
Yes.
something to come down.
Yes.
The hope that keeps you, oh, I will succeed.
Yes.
I am going to succeed. So
Yes.
you have that hope to keep
Yes,
you going.
and we all have greatness inside of us, I believe. And we all have tremendous
absolutely.
opportunity. But we have to make the right choices, and we have to avail ourselves of those opportunities. We need to make the best of adversity. We need to overcome our fears. We need to develop courage. We need commitment and perseverance. So we all have these opportunities, but it requires the right mindset. If you are feeling completely hopeless, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your future, if you don't believe in the opportunity for a better life, you're not going to have one. So it starts with that. That's the first thing. Carol Dweck at Stanford University talks about a growth mindset, that instead of praising your children for how smart they are, praise your children for how much effort they put forth. So the child who goes out and tries something new and tries to excel, praise the effort, regardless of the consequence of whether or not they succeed or
Succeeded or
fail.
not, yeah.
The fact that they're trying needs to be encouraged, because we have to try. We always have to take action. Action is magic. We have to. Nothing happens without taking action.
And nothing
right?
happened without failure.
Exactly.
I mean, who do we know in the history
Exactly.
they didn't fail
Exactly. So
many times before they made it?
people need to understand, A, that action is magic, A, that they need to control their thoughts, B, that action is magic, and C, that when they take action, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to succeed, in which case they're going to be enriched and emboldened and encouraged by the success, or they're going to fail, in which case they need to take that failure and profit from it. They need to learn. They need to analyze the failure. They need to look for meaning in the failure. They need to look for opportunity in the failure. They need to see the failure as an enriching experience that says, you know what? I overcame this obstacle. I overcame this failure. I'm a pretty strong person because I overcame that failure. So failures build your strength and your foundation. Value them for that. And then your successes are just like icing on the cake. They provide you encouragement and inspire you to take even more action. So never be afraid of failure. Recognize...
Well, failure gives you humbleness.
Yes.
It
Yes.
gives you humbleness. And when you're humbled, you actually could see and learn in different perspectives.
Absolutely.
And then when you succeed all the time, you're not humbled, therefore you're closed.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would also say that failure is by far the best teacher. Yeah, you will learn more in life from your failures than you will ever learn from your successes. Your successes are great in terms of inspiring you to further action, but where you really learn in life, and you need that, the value of those learning experiences, is you learn from your failures, and you become stronger and more resilient because of your failures.
And then you appreciate the success.
Yes.
If you don't have failure,
Yes.
you don't have appreciation.
Yes.
And enjoying the success that you have.
Yes. And then when you talk about perception, when you appreciate your successes when you have some failure, life is very much about perception as well. When we're looking for happiness and we're searching for happiness, it may be right in front of us. It may be at home, lying in bed next to us. It may be, sitting at the kitchen table and playing with our children. These are true moments of happiness. Yeah. And so understanding that you can look at any set of circumstances however you choose to look at them. You can look at them as with the wonderment that a child looks at them. I saw a video the other day of a little child looking at a mirror, and then it was a stand-up mirror, and he had to be no more than 2 years old, and he was sneaking around looking at the back of the mirror, seeing if he could see where the little kid that looked just like him was hiding behind this mirror, because he didn't understand the concept of a mirror. And so you think about the amazement and the wonder of a child like that who experiences something as simple as that, or who walks out in the rain for the first time, and the raindrops are falling on them, and they're laughing and they're playing and they're thinking this is the greatest thing in the world, or the first time they saw snow, right? Well, these things are still out there. It's still raining, it's still snowing, there are still mirrors, you can still look up at this amazing sky. Those things are still miraculous.
Absolutely.
It's just how we look at them.
Absolutely. So, and then also there is still opportunity to come on my show again, because this is amazing. Yeah. I just wanted to spend more time and talking to you, because again, it's just amazing the way you explain things.
Well, thank you.
When is your next book coming out?
So it'll be, the next book, Millennial Samurai, is, I've finished 120 chapters. The chapters are only 1 to 3 pages each, so they're very small. The idea is to expose you to all the different issues that I think you need to know about. Okay. Everything from asteroid mining to stem cell research to...
That's another show, for sure.
Yeah.
I love to talk about that stuff, but...
that'll be out probably January of next year.
Okay, so we need to get your information, because I'm sure they're dying to get hold of you and listen from, hear and learn from you.
Yes.
So please, this is your camera right there, and give them your website.
Okay, so my name is George Chanos, and I'm sure it's spelled somewhere on the program. And you can contact me on Facebook through Facebook Messenger. Connect with me, please, either on my author page, George J. Chanos, or my personal page, George Chanos. You can also find me at actionismagic.com or at georgejchanos.com. I write, blog, and speak about these issues. The first book, Seize Your Destiny, is available on Amazon.com. It's a wonderful book for anyone who has millennial children that are going out in the world and trying to make it on their own, or people that are in the middle of life and thinking about a career move and thinking about transitioning and need some guidance and direction. It's a great book for any of those people, for all of you.
Yeah.
And I'd encourage you to go on Amazon and get it. And please follow me on social media.
Yeah, I know you will not regret your following Mr. George. I mean, this is amazing. A lot of teaching, and I'm not glad you had the heart attack, but I mean, look what came out of it.
Yeah, I kind of am.
I mean, it's amazing, this wisdom that you carry with you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, and for sure, I'm going to have you back when you get your book.
Okay,
Promise?
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Love
and
to.
then thank you again for being on the show, and I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did. And please, always stay focused on your purpose.